I'm Michael Bain, and welcome to Triggered, coming to you, of course, from the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains in Dragon House Studios, brought to you this week by Stoeger. So, for a guy who was never a big fan of 10mm, I certainly seem to be swept away with the wave of 10mm that are becoming available. And I've got yet another one for you today. Now, most of you are familiar with my Rock Island Armory long slide, 16 shots, well, 15 shots in Colorado for another couple of months till the court case gets there. 10mm that was built by Sean McSheedy at Cylinder and Slide Shop, and which he affectionately named the Pig. It is one of the best shooting 1911s I've ever shot. It is not just good, it is great. Of course, with the frame-mounted aim point on it. It was designed as a hunting gun, but for some of the competitions that have been created for heavy Magnum pistol hunting challenges, this is the gun to beat. Well, I've got a baby one for you, which I have dubbed Piglet. This is a 10mm commander length from Rock Island Armory, 4.25 barrel. It turns out, and I didn't really realize this till I started looking into it, that Rock Island Armory has the largest number of different 10mm, 1911 platform, that's available. They have them in the long slide like the Pig, of regular length. They also have these commander length guns. And I think Piglet here is probably in contention for the best backcountry carry gun in the entire world. Why is that? Well, it's 10mm, and 10mm is a versatile and powerful round. The reason I like the 1911 platform in 10mm is 10mm is a versatile and powerful round. Shooting it out of some of the poly-framed striker guns sometimes is a fun, exciting experience. I once shot an entire Glock Sport Shooting Foundation with one of their little tiny stub-nose 10mm. It was awful. What a terrible afternoon. But the 1911 is going to be heavier. This guy's coming in around 38 ounces, which is what you'd expect. So 2 pounds, 2 1/3 pounds, because 1911's heavy, made of steel. It comes with a lot of bells and whistles, which is something that Rock Island has been doing. Instead of selling you the base gun to be turned into something different, it's selling you a gun with a lot of bells and whistles that may solve your issues coming up. Ambidextrous safety, skeletonized trigger, skeletonized hammer, really nice set of VZ G10 grips, checkered mainspring housing, really good beaver tail. I mean, you can tell with the 1911 when the beaver tail really works well. This particular version has a full-length rail. I like that for the 10mm because it's added some weight there. It's a small enough gun that you can carry in the backcountry, and you can still load it with compelling rounds. When I say compelling rounds, I practice a lot with these Armscore rounds. They're really excellent 10mm rounds, extremely accurate. You may remember a couple of years ago I tested Armscore for accuracy against some match rounds from some other makers, and the Armscore full metal jackets ran right alongside with them. But if you're carrying it in the backcountry, you're carrying something like Buffalo Bore, or you're carrying Double Tap, really powerful high-end 10mm ammunition that is basically bumping up against 41 Magnum, 44 Magnum power. So you have that in a commander's size, 8-round magazines, 5-pound trigger. This is a really nice gun. Sights, fiber optic front, LPA adjustable rear. You know I'm probably going to try to put a red dot on it and see if I can shoot it off. But I just got this gun. I haven't been able to ring it out on the range. I'm going to fix that tomorrow. I'll let you know how it works out. But for me, this may be the best packing pistol for people in the backcountry that I have ever seen. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Triggered. By the way, the MSRP on the Piglet, roughly $850. A great, great deal for a superb 1911. I wanted to show you this new red dot sight, and it goes with the trend that we've been talking about here for a couple of years, which is a lot more people are in the red dot sight market. They're also offering really thoughtful, relatively inexpensive red dots. Now, this guy is from Bushnell, from their electro-optics division. It is the RXC for Compact 200. And there's a lot of things to like in this sight. In a sense, Bushnell did everything right. They put out their RX 250, which I got an RX 250 because my friends who are shooting competition using that sight said, hey, Michael, you got to check this thing out. It's a tank, and it's working 100%. So Bushnell followed up with a smaller compact sights for these carry pistols like this Car CW9 or a Glock 43, a 43X, a SIG 365, fill in the blank. But what Bushnell did that really makes a lot of sense here is this is a compact sight. It's an aluminum frame, so it's tough. It also is a glass lens, and the lens has been coated much like a scope. So water's going to tend to run off of it. You're not going to be able to scratch it as easily. 6 MOA dot circle is very, very crisp. 6 MOA is great on a carry gun because everything is going to be happening very quickly with that. So I'm good with 6 MOA. I also like a lot that, like many other manufacturers that are really becoming to understand what the red dot is, you see the dovetail they have in the rear. Well, that way you've now got a rear sight here, and it co-witnesses with the front sight on this car. I think this might be a custom front sight. This work was done several years ago, and it's a really excellent little carry gun. So Bushnell got all of this right. The way the sight sits on the slide, the little bits of scalloping to make it easier on the draw so there's no sharp edge that's going to snag. 2032 battery, it'll probably last until, I don't know, the sun goes nova. It's one of those 50,000 hours, whatever. But it's a great package. And one thing that's coming that isn't out quite yet is this same sight except with less height. Because Bushnell reasoned that if you're carrying a gun and it's a small gun, you might not need a bigger sight window, that you may be able to get by well with a slightly smaller window. I'm interested in getting that when it comes out to try it out. And the really great thing about this sight is $199.95. So we've moved down to where red dot sights are readily available and very, very good. When we come back, we're going to talk about being safe from animals. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Armscore, Rock Island Armory. What's your passion? Taurus USA, always ready, always bring it. Stoger, everyday tough. SDS Imports and the Tisas PX9. Tisas means quality. Hunter's HD Gold. They change so you don't have to. Welcome back to Triggered and our Your Best Defense segment. I'd mentioned that I thought Piglet here in 10mm was maybe one of the best backcountry carry guns that I'd ever seen. And that got me thinking about self-defense from animals. Maybe one of the longest lived threads on the internet is, what would you carry for protection in bear country? Well, unlike most of the people who ask that question, I live in bear country. Black bears here in Colorado, they're pretty regular visitors to the area around here. They're always trapping out dangerous bears or problem bears. The other animal that we deal with here around the house is mountain lions. We have a wonderful video of 2 mountain lion cubs, maybe 25 pounds apiece, and mom playing out on the deck of the Dragon House studio right here. So what's your likelihood of encountering a really dangerous animal in the woods? Pretty much non-existent, on par with being struck by lightning. Basically, the most dangerous animal in the woods is man. I always carry in the backcountry for exactly that reason. But when you're dealing with animals, well, How do you want to carry a gun in the woods? I wanted to touch on that because I like chest holsters. Especially if you're out for a long time, or if you're wearing a pack, hydration systems, you got lots of straps across your body, chest holsters carry the gun here. And I wanted to show you two good options and mention the third. This guy in leather is from Rob Leahy at Simply Rugged Leather. And Rob is from Alaska, so these holster designs, this chesty puller chest system, were beta tested by guys who were around grizzlies and who used their guns on those grizzlies. So Rob understands what it takes to have a great backcountry chest carry holster. If you're more interested in kydex, this particular chest holster, which by the way is for Glock, the leather one's for GP100, Ruger 357. This one for a Glock is made by Gunfighters Inc. And it is extremely well designed, extremely comfortable. One of the advantages of a chest holster with these straps is it redistributes the weight of a heavy gun like Piglet here, or of an even larger 44 Magnum, 454, whatever. So you really won't feel that weight of the gun as you would if it was on your belt. So that's the way to carry it. Maybe this is the gun to carry. And a thing I'd like to really remind you is that the best way to deal with animals when you're in the backcountry is don't interface with them. You're unlikely to see a bear. If you do, back away. If you're in Alaska with grizzlies, that's a whole different show. Finally, you're not going to likely see a mountain lion. If you do, it's hunting you. And you need to really be aware of what you're doing. I'm a big fan of warning shots for animals because they deserve a break. I'm Michael Bain. This is Triggered, brought to you this week by Stoeger. As always, you can find us on michaelbain.tv where we will have links. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Rumble, and you might want to sign up for our Twitter feed now that Twitter is once more an open platform at MBANEACP. We'll see you next week.